In our special Voga Health section this morning, during winter season, there are increased incidents of fire breaking out in residential areas as people try to keep the bitter cold away. Now, beyond the usual shack fires due to unattended informal heating devices, the City of Johannesburg Emergency Management Services has recently been witnessing increasing cases of heaters exploding and killing people. It has been preached that prevention is better than cure, so safety tips are best disseminated on a public platform to avoid some of these accidental fire incidents. Well, Emergency Services spokesperson Robert Mulaudzi joins us now in the studio. Very good morning to you, Robert. Thank you so much for joining us.
Morning to the viewers out there.
Just start off by telling us about your campaign.
Yeah, we on the 1st of June, which was last Thursday, we launched our winter fire safety campaign together with our Jozi safety kit handover. We launched it in Zandspruit, where we handed over about 100 Jozi safety kits, which we distributed to communities which were trained on basic firefighting and first aid, with the intention of making sure that if there's an emergency, they can be able to respond to that emergency. And also we can be able to reduce the fire incidents in those areas by introducing some of heating and lighting heat energy sources which those communities in those areas can use, unlike using paraffin stoves safely and also the candles unsafely, yes.
So would you say that there's been an increase in the breakout of residential fires this year compared to the same time last year?
Yes, right now, because our winter officially starts on the 1st of June. So from between last year, between June and August, we had about 790 fire incidents only in our informal settlements. And we had about 23 people who lost their lives. So now, you'll recall that already, I think in the last month or so, we already had an incident in GP's town where 2 people lost their lives. So we already lost 2 people already, and we are not even in the middle of winter as yet. So we are concerned that maybe we might even get more fire incidents. That is the reason why we're using platforms like this, where we want to communicate with our residents out there, conducting door-to-door campaigns, advising our communities on the safe use of paraffin stoves, candles, and also the imbaula, not to use it in a confined space. We advise them to use it in a well-ventilated area so that we can avoid incident of carbon monoxide inhalation.
Now, what other tips can you give to our viewers regarding fire safety this winter?
Yeah, firstly, our concern now is the paraffin stoves. We've seen an increase now in terms of incidents of incidences where paraffin stoves are exploding. Most of these stoves they are not regulated by the national regulator for compulsory specifications, which is a national body which regulates the safe use of these stoves. So our message is to say our communities need to buy these stoves from reputable dealers. They will see that these stoves will have safety features on them. For instance, if you're using it and it accidentally falls while you're cooking, it can actually cut off the flame, and therefore you're not going to have a fire incident. And the second part is we advise our communities to use candles safely. We've got a program, we call it candle safety jars, where we urge our communities to use your old peanut butter, mayonnaise bottles, jars, where they just clean it up, fill it 3/4 of it with sand, and then they just cut the candle into half. So you stick it inside the jar, then you light your candle. So as your candle burns, as soon as it reaches where the sand is, it actually extinguishes itself. Therefore, you're not going to have the fire incident at home. And also that jar, it actually makes your room to be much more brighter. So those are some of the things we're urging, and also we're introducing the solar lantern light, because we've realized that our community, they don't know about other heat energy sources they can use. So those are some of the things we're introducing to them to say, if you use it's a rechargeable light which they can recharge and use it at night. And also in our Jozi safety kit, we've got a packet, a 25-liter packet, which they can all the time store it with water, so that if there's an emergency, they can use it to extinguish
quickly.
Yeah, of course now we have got a problem of deliberate fire setting, because you recall that even in that incident I'm talking about from in GP's town, where we've heard that there are allegations of deliberate fire setting where people, maybe if they are fighting, they just decide to, set alight. Yeah. So now you find out that these shacks, due to the nature where the way they are built, you find out that if you have got one incident in next door, that fire will spread towards maybe destroy about from 500 to 1,000 shacks, which is very unacceptable. From our side, we say our communities need to refrain from them, because that is the part where we cannot really police, we cannot really be policing that part. And also there's the issue of illegal connection, where we see that there's also an increase in terms of illegal connection, where people are, which is even dangerous to the young children in those areas. When they're playing, they might be electrocuted while they're playing. So that's the message from our side. So the Josie Safety Kit is continuing throughout the month of June. We will be visiting various informal settlements across the city, areas like Deepslot, Meriting, areas like Orange Farm, Cliptown, and the other areas. So we have identified those areas which we know that there's a risk, and then we will be distributing this Josie Safety Kit with the aim of making sure that we reduce the number of fire incidents and also fatalities in those areas.
Now, some people use electric blankets as well as electric water bottles.
Yes.
I mean, if heat is exploding, is there a risk that an electric blanket could short circuit and start burning?
Yes, what we're concerned of, there are a lot of products which are not regulated. For instance, some of these products, people buy them on the streets, which might be dangerous to them. That is the reason why we say our communities need to buy these things from a reputable dealer, so that they will have your national regulator for compulsory specification stamp and also a SABS approved mark. So as we will be sure to say this item is ready to be used. So, but now due to issues of affordability and things like that, you find out that our communities, they prefer to buy these things in the which are sold in the intersections. You find somebody standing in the intersection and selling a stove. Because of the affordability, our communities go and buy these stoves. So even though we've got campaigns which we conduct together with the national regulator for compulsory specifications, where we do conduct regular inspections and remove some of these illegal
stoves,
which are being sold.
Before we actually run out of time, just talk us through a treatment of burn wounds. People still believe that you can put Colgate on a burn wound if you've been burned by a candle or a gas or paraffin stove.
No.
How do you treat a burn wound?
No, the burn wound is simple. You just apply, your tap cold water for about 20 minutes or so, and then if you can also be able to get a burn shield. In our Josie Safety Kit, we've got a burn kit where you can, it's got a gel and also a burn shield where you can be able to apply in that burn wound. And of course, from there, you can be able to transport that person to the nearest healthcare facility. So the question you just asked now, those are some of the questions we're answering to our communities to say, there is a better way of treating these, minor burns by making sure that we go out to our communities, not only in the adults only. We've got also programs which are targeted to, high schools, our schools emergency programs where we're training, young people on basic firefighting and first aid, so that not only at schools but at home they can also be able to deal with emergencies.
Well, thank you so much for joining us here on Vogue Africa this morning. That was the Emergency Services spokesperson, Mr. Robert Mulaudzi, just giving us a bit of education on fires, how to avoid them and stay healthy and safe this winter period.